LME was in the news this past year. You want to give the listeners a little overview or thoughts on that situation? Because that was a little bit odd.
Part of what I'll say is, if I can't say it as facts, so it's going to be a bit conjecture here. So what happened? The price of nickel exploded higher. And why did that occur? The street's understanding, my understanding of what happened in that case is it was basically a short squeeze. It was a Chinese-based producer that's long the commodity. They produce nickel and they sell futures to hedge part of that position. Nickel started to move up and against them for whatever reasons, fundamental, technical, I'm not even going to guess. And that caused them to start covering their shorts in their hedge. And that started to accelerate. And so once that squeeze became sort of apparent, price of nickel exploded. And so for us, we were long nickel, as many CTAs I imagine were. We were long nickel. And what happens with our core CTA strategy is that when as I was talking about earlier, when the volatility of that asset goes from here to now it's bouncing around this much, what it tells us is the probability of keeping those mark-to-market gains is diminishing because it's got so much more volatile. It could just bounce down. We could lose all those mark-to-market gains. So as that happens, we're taking triggers from the market to say, you know what, too volatile, move too far, cut some of that risk. So on that fateful day or evening, for us it was evening, it hit our criteria. We put in sell orders to get out of the nickel market. We were executed on those. As far as we knew, we exited the nickel market. We come back in, so to speak, and I'm kind of making, operate 24/7. But, the next morning you're looking at your trade recaps and the trades were canceled. And so the LME made a decision to cancel those trades where people were selling out of their positions. Why did they do that? Well, because they had this big short player in this Chinese producer who was so far offside that they were worried about a default. They weren't going to be able to pay it. The LME would be in trouble and they needed to interject into the market. And they have that right as the exchange. So what do I think about that? I think it's fraudulent. I think it's criminal. There are lawsuits against the LME currently by some very large players. I would be happy to join a class action. Again, why do we trade futures? Because there's a buyer and a seller, and I can get in and out no matter what the reason. And there's an exchange in the middle. I don't have to take credit risk. That's the beauty of futures. When the LME made the decision to step in and kill these trades, I believe they went too far. We've seen other cases where exchanges, think of the flash crash in whatever year that was, 2012. The exchange said, well, it hit these stops and we've got to kill those trades. That shouldn't have happened. There are situations where I believe maybe that is the right decision. The LME's decision to do that, I don't think was the right decision. And so what did it mean for us? Well, we tried to sell it way up here and then it went limit down because here's the exchange helping out this one customer who's short and at the cost of everybody else. And by time we got out of that trade, we got out profitably, but we gave away 10 big figures of exposure. So it was an opportunity loss.